Ladies and gentlemen, we got the patch notes for the upcoming Mephisto and Hellstorm Tier 4 mid-month update happening tonight. Keep in mind, this is a rolling patch update, so you're not going to have any maintenance. You're just going to have to close your game and reopen it around 10 to 11 p.m. Eastern. You'll be prompted to download it, and then you can access Mephisto's new uniform, Mephisto Tier 4, Hellstorm's new uniform, and Hellstorm's Tier 4. For those of you that watch the live content on the channel, I will not be doing a live stream tonight because I'll be traveling, because I'm doing a bit of a vacation thing. So no live stream for me, but I will be covering the uniforms as usual, with slightly less quality videos, you know, because I'll be like in transit when I'm recording. But yeah, I will have videos, you know, detailing my thoughts on these characters and stuff like that, and reviewing them, and that sort of thing. So let's dive into it. Mephisto's turning into a universal type, so this is pretty crazy. I didn't actually give this a lot of thought or sort of weight because I didn't think they would do it, but they did it. It's good and it's bad. It's good for the character. It's good for balancing. It's bad for diversity, and yeah, it means that he's going to be a bit more cookie cutter in terms of, like, you know, you just need to use another universal to counter him, because, you know, certain type advantages won't apply. So yeah, that's a bit of a disappointment there for me, but it's also good for the character himself, because it makes him stronger. He's got the same ability tags, Hellfire, Magic, Evil, and then he maintains his other ally, and then he's Male and Destruction Instinct. His uniform effect gives him 25% chain hit, 5% additional pierce, and super armor 50% all defense. So these are all new passives that he never had before, so this is pretty huge. The 5% pierce is obviously very strong. The 25% chain hit and then the 50% all defense is quite nice. His leadership giving you know, villains debuff removal, and then giving villains fire damage. It's not new in terms of the wording, but it's new in the sense that they've separated them into different lines. Before, the fire damage was always tied to getting debuffed. Now it is not tied to getting debuffed. It's just a static buff that's always there. So they did improve his leadership, which is quite nice. His old tier 2 passive, they bumped up the skill damage bonus damage by 5%, and then they kept the 40% damage reduction and the 70% reflect reduction. So that is also the same as before. And then I assume because they don't talk about it, they didn't touch his 4-star passive, which gives him a 90% heal revive, like a revive with 90% of his HP. Now, as far as his skills go, it is a bit worded. It's worded a bit weirdly, but you do have when Hellfire skill is used, and you do have a separate skill. So I can confirm more or less that he does have a transformation, right? The wording is exactly the same, and he does have the separation between superhero and supervillain buffs. However, we've talked about this before. You know, if the AI in PvP is going to transform, then it's going, like, especially if he transforms right at the beginning, it's going to make him quite weak for PvP on auto. Particularly because when you look through the skills, he has no penetration here on 3, obviously no penetration on 2, no penetration on 1, no penetration on 5, but he does have penetration on 4. And it's very good penetration. It's 70% penetration for 8 seconds. With 5 seconds of invincibility, and he gets the Jean Grey healing accumulation, which is huge. The Jean Grey healing accumulation is bananas. It's really, really good. He used to have it on his 5th skill. They moved it over to his 4th skill, so they actually did make him quite a bit better for PvP because they combined, right? Before, Mephisto had penetration on his 5th skill, and he had the heal accumulation on his 4th skill. Now they're putting them together on one skill, right, where he has iframe ignore and the penetration and the crazy healing accumulation. However, this one skill here is when he's not transformed. So we're just gonna have to see how his autoplay, you know, how the AI behaves, because if the AI immediately uses Hellfire and transforms, then he's not going to do the PvP skill. He's going to do this VPAD skill down here, which does have invincibility and has a 30% heal, which is nice, but it misses all this other stuff. It misses the penetration, it misses the iframe ignore, it misses the heal accumulation, and that's really the bread and butter, right? So that's really going to be the crux of it. If he doesn't transform in PvP, if he completely ignores the second skill, then everything's good. You know, we're going to Candyland. If he does spam Hellfire and transform right away, then we're screwed. The only upside I would say is that if he starts with all of his skills off cooldown, he should, because most enemy characters, when you're fighting them, they go into an iframe skill, right? So, like, especially if you think about the heavyweights, Null, Sentry, Adam Warlock, they spam their second skill, which is an iframe. So that means Mephisto should spam his fourth skill, which is his iframe ignore skill. So at least you'll get at least one cast of it. I mean, again, that's like worst case scenario. Obviously, we don't want that, but just keep that to keep that in mind. That it kind of is the way that it is. So it'll be interesting to see what happens there. He might be a dud for PvP. We don't know. Yeah, and then he's got a frenzy buff here on one part of the 5th skill, price of the contract, and then here he's got a different kind of accumulation buff. That other accumulation buff on his 4th skill is just to heal him. It doesn't actually affect his damage. This is his accumulation skill where he actually deals damage. So it seems like just like before, when he's transformed, he's more PvE, and when he's not transformed, he is PvP. The only sort of confusing part about that is that they flip-flopped his buff. So he has the villain. He deals damage to villains when he's not transformed, and he deals more damage to heroes when he is transformed. And now, obviously, the only heroes that you wanted him to deal more damage to in PvP are like Wolverine, Adam Warlock, Sentry, which, yeah, that's pretty good. But then when he transforms for PvE, there's not much superhero buff. So you would think that maybe both of them should be supervillain or something like that. I think it's just a bit of a quirk where they wanted to make kind of like a yin and yang situation where they didn't want to make them the same. It doesn't necessarily match, I agree, but it also I'm also acknowledging that it can't really match. Like, let's say they flip these, right? And so when he's not transformed, he deals more damage to heroes, and when he is transformed, he deals more damage to villains. That would make sense for like most PvE content, because most PvE content is you're fighting against supervillains, and it would make sense for a lot of the current PvP meta when he is transformed, dealing but when he's not transformed, he's dealing more damage to heroes. But then he wouldn't deal more damage to himself in the mirror match. He wouldn't deal more damage to Null, Silver Surfer, Thanos, Jean Grey, and any other villains that come around. So it's kind of just because PvP right now is mixed between heroes and villains. When it becomes more villain focused, which it almost inevitably will, when next year, when Doom gets a tier 4, when Doom gets a rework and all that stuff, this will make more sense. That's just my take on it. I get what people are saying, that it should be flipped, but I can also see a world where it's not flipped and it's still okay. But yeah, his kit looks pretty good. He has a VPAD skill, and yeah, we just have to wait and see how the AI works. He might be really good for PvE. It's hard to say, but he has quite a few. He has burn, fracture, paralysis, snare, I believe. He's got a lot of abilities. We're just gonna have to wait and see if, or maybe he doesn't have snare. Oh no, he does have snare. Yeah, he does. And silence. Yeah, so he has almost every single. He's missing one ABL skill. He's missing shock. That's it. He has everything else. So he could be really, really good for both PvE and PvP. We just have to see, particularly for PvP, how the AI works. If the AI is gonna use Hellfire, we're kind of in a bad spot. And then Hellstorm's TVA uniform. This one's pretty interesting. He's not a support at all. So them giving him a tier 4, I'm interested how strong he's gonna be. He's universal. He's magic, flame, human, male, justice. His uniform effect, and this is the first uniform he's ever gotten, so this is all brand new. 10% chain hit, 40% ignore dodge, which is okay. It's not crazy. His passive here gives him 30% skill damage, 25% bonus damage, and then 20% damage reduction. Again, his old tier 2 passive was absolutely terrible. It was just really, really bad. I'm not even gonna bother reading it. Actually, you know what? His old tier 2 passive wasn't that bad. 60% flame damage for 15 seconds every 20 seconds. But anyways, they basically just gave that as a static buff. So now he gets 50% flame damage or fire damage buff on his 4-star passive. So that's really, really good. And then his skills look pretty normal. There's nothing on the first 2 skills at all. Then he gets burn and snare, and he gets immunity with a 40% attack buff. Then he gets an accumulation buff with a 30% heal on demonic clone, but it doesn't actually summon clones, I think. And then he gets fracture and another buff. So he actually has quite a few ABX, ABL abilities. He has burn, snare, and fracture. He's missing silence and paralysis and shock. But yeah, I'm interested. I'm interested. Maybe this is just a bad rework. Or maybe he'll be surprisingly good. I don't know. I don't know. It's interesting. And then Mephisto and Hellstorm are both getting tier 4. So this is a bit of a surprise to people that thought Hellstorm wasn't going to get a tier 4. Mephisto's tier 4 gives him a 50% max HP buff when he pops his tier 4 striker. And it increases his energy attack by 25% every second for 10 seconds up to 100%. And then it also does damage. That's a very good tier 4. Yeah. Yeah. That's a very good Corrupting Flame. Cool sounding name too. And then Hellstorm's tier 4. He accumulates elemental damage, and then it increases his elemental damage as well. So that's pretty strong as well. And it seems like it might not have any cap, which might be insane. So we'll see. Mephisto's getting a new artifact. It just increases his damage to all elemental, which is, I would say, on the PvE side of things. It's not on the PvP side of things. It's definitely more on the PvE side of things. But who knows? It could be good. Anyways, that's about it. The other stuff that they did is pretty much just game error fixes, localization stuff. As far as the update event goes, it's pretty straightforward. We got all uniform sale, ranked battle, growth event, new team up, not new, but sorry, like the team up little, what's it called? Pass, the team up pass, and then some check-in events and stuff like that. And we will see, unfortunately, we will see the new game mode ranking tournament that will start on Sunday, on the 7th of September. So it doesn't start with the update. It starts a few days after the update. So yeah, we'll see what the rewards are for the people who cheer and to the top 16 who get chosen. Yeah, good luck to you, I guess. Anyways, that's it for the video, guys. Hit me up in the comments down below. Let me know what you think. Thanks so much for watching. Smash the like button for the content, and I'll see you in the next one. Take care.